Welcome, students. In today's video, we will be looking at the 2020 Ability Test past paper. There are 40 questions. The paper lasts for 1 hour, 15 minutes. Let's get to the first question. All right, for items 1 and 2, you're going to select the word that best completes each sentence. Students are to school as soldiers are to. Is it war, protect, camouflage, or army? The correct answer is army. Okay. You could say students are members of schools and soldiers are members of the army. Okay. So the answer would be D. All right. Question 2. Socks are to feet as watch is to. Is it wrist, time, clock, eyes? So socks, we wear socks on our feet. So a watch, we wear that on our wrist. So the answer is A. Question 3. For item 3, select the correct response. Which does not belong to the group? Is it Barbados, St. Kitts, England, or St. Lucia? All the others are islands. England is not. So that's the one that's different. All right, so for question 4 and 5, you're going to select the option that is a necessary component of the word in bold type. So car, what is a necessary component of a car? Would it be the door, engine, lights, or seats? The correct answer is engine. B. All right, question 5. What's a necessary component for a book? Would it be chapters, a glossary, pictures, or pages? Book doesn't necessarily have to have chapters, but it definitely needs pages. All right, for item 6 and 7, which pair of words is the odd one out? Okay, that means the others will be similar, but there's one that will be different. So is it doctor patient, coach player, teacher student, or brother sister? All right, when we look at the relationship between 3, it's more of, say, a professional relationship, right? One is in a figure, in a position of authority, I would say. And for D, brother, sister, those are siblings. That's the type of relationship. So a familiar relationship. So that's the odd one out. All right, so let's look at 7, which is the odd one out. Auditorium choir, stadium spectators, church congregation, supermarket customers. All right, so for B, C, and D, the spectators, right? The spectators would be the persons who would attend the match or whatever else would be going on in the stadium. The congregation, those people who go to church, and the customers, those people who have, require the service of the supermarket. But for choir, that one is the odd one out. The choir does not require the service of the auditorium. The choir would actually be the one who would be doing the entertaining, right? Or providing the service. Whilst the others, okay, those are the ones who need the service, if you want to put it that way. All right, so the answer for 7 would be A. That's the odd one out. All right, let's look at question 8. The words in the table below are alike in some way. Use them to answer item 8. All right, so we have cheerful, jovial, delighted, glad. Which of the following is not like the words in the table? Is it lucky, happy, elated, or contented? The word that is not like the others in the table would be lucky. Okay. Question 9, use the alphabet to help find the next pair of letters in the series. Okay, so we have the letters of the alphabet. And then we have AZ, then CW, ET, and GQ. So there are different ways to look at this. First, we can look at all the terms in the beginning. So we have A, C, E, G. So what would be next? If you notice they're skipping one, so then I think the next letter should be I. Now let's look at the relationship or what's happening with the second set of letters. So we have Z, then they have skipped 2, we're now at W. They have skipped 2, we're now at T. We have skipped 2, we're now at Q. Skip 2, so the next one would be N. So based on my observation, then the correct pair of letters for the series would be AIN. Okay, we're skipping 1 here for the first letters, and then they are skipping 2 in the reverse order for the second letter. All right, question 10. Identify what comes next in the sequence. So we have seed, plant, blossom. What's next? Is it apple, branches, fruit, leaves? Okay, so what comes next? First, we have a seed. Okay, it goes into a plant, then it starts to blossom. Then, of course, we would expect a fruit to come next. It wasn't specific about the type of tree, so we would not say apple. Yes, apple is a type of fruit, but we want a more general term. So that would be fruit. All right, so for item 11, examine the words closely, then select the correct sequence in terms of their size. So we have country, village, county, parish, right? So village would pretty much be like a community. All right, we know what a parish is. So we have different parishes, St. Catherine, St. Anne. All right, then we have counties, which would be a group of parishes together. And then, of course, the country would contain all of these. So in terms of the size, if we are going from the size, I would say from the smallest, even though they didn't indicate, I would think in terms of the size, then you would go from smallest to largest. But of course, we could also check to see if the reverse was possible in terms of the options, if they started from larger to smaller. But usually you would start from smaller to larger. So the smallest would be a village, that's 2, then a parish, that's 4, county, and then a country. So 2, 4, 3, 1. Okay, and there's an option there, 2, sorry, not 2, 4, 3, 1. Okay, here D has that option, 2, 4, 3, 1. If we were to think they were starting from the biggest, which would have been country, then village would not have been the second largest, so then this option would not have been possible. Okay, so the option there would be from the smallest to the largest. Item 12, examine the words carefully, then select the correct sequence in terms of their rank. And again, it didn't tell us whether we're going from the highest rank to the lowest, all right? But we just have to look at the options and see which one in terms of whether lowest to highest or highest to lowest would have them in the right order, okay? So the highest rank would, of course, be the Governor General, and then the Prime Minister, then the Member of Parliament, and then the Mayor. So Mayor would be on the lower end, the Governor General would be the highest. Okay, so let's look to see which of these show us an option, right? Do they want us to start from the highest, or do they want us to start from the lowest? Okay, so let's see. All right, so if I start with the Governor General, then it would have been 3, 1, 4, 2. Let's see if that's an option. 3, 1, 4, 2, that's correct. If we were doing it from smallest, then it would have been the mayor first, and then it would have been the member of parliament, but that's not the option here. They had the mayor, so they're not starting from smallest to largest. So the correct answer is from highest rank would have been 3, 1, 4-2. Question 13. For item 13, select the most appropriate word to complete the sentence. Water keeps the body blank, especially when participating in sports. Is it water keeps the body thirsty, clean, hydrated, or healthy? And of course, water keeps the body hydrated. All right, the answer is C. All right, items 14 and 15, you're going to read each sentence carefully, then select the correct response. Jackie's mother's sister has a son. How would that son be related to Jackie? He is Jackie's blank. Okay, so let's try to, take it part by part. So Jackie's mother's sister has a son. So Jackie's mother's sister will be Jackie's aunt. So if Jackie's aunt has a son, that would be Jackie's cousin. Okay, so the son of her aunt is her cousin. The answer is B. Question 15. 4 planes left the airport about the same time, heading to the same destination. Plane B arrived at the destination before plane A and plane D, but after C. Which plane arrived first? So if plane B arrived, okay, so they all left at the same time, but here's plane B. It arrived before, all right, they're heading in this direction. So it arrived before A and D. Okay, so B is before A and D. So, but after C, that means C would be in front of it. So which plane arrived first? That would be C. All right, let's go. Question 16 to 18, we're going to read the passage carefully, then select the best option. All right, Devon House. Who doesn't like a cold, sweet, and creamy treat? Everyone loves ice cream, and the ultimate creamy treat for most Jamaicans is Devon House ice cream. To us, there is no better ice cream in the world. Every day is ice cream day. However, Sunday afternoons and public holidays are famous for Jamaican families to spread out on the lawns of Devon House and enjoy ice cream. 35 delicious flavors to choose from. Now, let's talk about the Devon House Mansion itself. Did you know that this historical landmark was owned by Jamaica's first black millionaire, George Stibel? A tour of George Stibel's magnificent home gives us a glimpse of how the wealthy lived in the late 19th century. All right, so let's go to the question. Of course, if you were doing this exam, you would have to perhaps read it more than once just to make sure you understand what it is saying. You can also pause the video, read it for yourself before attempting the questions, okay? So it says, why do most families go to Devon House? Is it to visit George Stibel, get a history lesson, visit the wealthy, or get ice cream? Of course, without even going back to the passage, we know it's to get ice cream. That's why most people would go to Devon House. All right, question 17. Which of the following is implied by the passage? Okay, so it wasn't stated outright, but it's implied, meaning we can understand that from what we have read. All right, so which of the following is implied by the passage? Before the 19th century, Jamaica had no black millionaires. Devon House had the best ice cream in the world. Jamaicans visited Devon House. There were no millionaires in Jamaica. So, of course, before the 19th century, it would not have been known for ice cream. And I don't think Jamaicans would have visited Devon House. And let's go back. So in this part of the paper, it says that, now let's talk about Devon House Mansion itself. Did you know that this historical landmark was owned by Jamaica's first black millionaire? All right, a tour of George Stibel's magnificent home gives us a glimpse of how the wealthy lived in the late 19th century. So, Jamaica's first black millionaire, All right. So it didn't say Jamaica's first millionaire. It said Jamaica's first black. So then, which of the following is implied? It would imply that before the 19th century, Jamaica had no black millionaires. Okay. Question 18. Which statement about Devon House is true? It is only open on Sundays? No. All right, it's open every day. All right, Devon House was built in the 20th century. Remember, they spoke about the 19th century. All right, it offers more than just ice cream. Yes, right. It's also an historical site. You can go there for tours. The ice cream is only for the wealthy? Of course not. So the correct answer is C. It offers more than just ice cream. You get the chance to tour the property. All right, it's an historical landmark. All right, question 19. The words in bold are from an artificial language. Beside each word is its meaning in English. Puffinsvich means big baby. Rokoflo means night cry. Oflovich means cry baby. Which word could mean baby dog? Okay, so we can look at what word would mean baby since we saw that twice in the artificial language. All right, and when we look at Puffinsvich, right, means big baby. Oflovich means crybaby. So the word baby came at the end. So we would take Vich to mean baby. Okay. So in those examples, though, baby was at the end. So we want to look, since the word that we're trying to find now would have baby at the beginning, we would need to have Vich at the beginning of the phrase. And the only one there that gives us this would be B. Option D also had fish, but it is at the end, but we want baby at the beginning. And rock means night. So that would not be correct either. All right, let's get to 20, almost halfway through the paper. All right, so it says use a statement below to answer item 20. Guinea pigs are from the class of mammals. Rabbits and guinea pigs make good pets. Rabbits and guinea pigs are from the same class. So from these statements, which must be true? All mammals make good pets. Well, they said that guinea pigs are from the class of mammals, and they said that rabbits and guinea pigs make good pets, but it didn't say all mammals, right? Because we don't know, they didn't tell us the other mammals, but they specifically said rabbit and guinea pigs make good pets. So not all mammals make good pets. All right. All pets are mammals. No, that's not true. Okay. Mammals would be, not all pets are mammals. Okay. Next, rabbits are mammals. So let's see if we could identify that rabbits are mammals. It says guinea pigs are from the class of mammals. Rabbits and guinea pigs make good pets. Rabbits and guinea pigs are from the same class. So if guinea pigs are from the class of mammals, then since rabbits and guinea pigs are from the same class, then rabbits are also mammals. All right. And D, rabbits are guinea pigs? No. Rabbits and guinea pigs are from the same class. They are not the same animals. So the correct answer, which is true, would be C. Rabbits are mammals since they are from the same class as guinea pigs. And we know that guinea pigs are mammals. All right, question 21. Examine the pattern below. How many rectangles would be in figure 5? So in figure 1, it's a little bit light. Okay, it's a bit faded. But figure 1 has 1 triangle. Then figure 2 has 3. Figure 3 has 6. Then figure 4 has 7, 10. Okay, so let's see how much would be needed for figure 5. So there are different ways again to look at this. You could look at it from that they started with 1, then 2, then 3, 4. Okay, so then the base for the next one would be, if we're counting, would be 5. Here we have 1, 0, then 1, then we have 2, then we have 3. So then the other one would have been 4. So if we have 1 here, then we have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we were to count up, so the base would have been 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. If we count that up, we get a total of 15. All right, you could go ahead and draw it if you want, but in the interest of time, we are moving along. All right, I had gone ahead to try to redraw this because it had been a little bit pale. All right, so a picture is taken of a parking lot. The numbers in the parking spaces follow a particular pattern. Use the picture shown below to answer item 22. Which number belongs in the parking space where the car is parked? All right, so we have 2, then there's a car parked. We don't know what number is there. Then we have 11, 23, 47. So which number belongs in the parking space? All right, so let's look at the relationship between the numbers that we can see. And that will help us to determine what number is missing. So between 23 and 47, it's a difference of 24. Between 11 and 23, it's a difference of 12. So right there, we see that the number has doubled, okay? So then it would mean that, right? So 12 is half of 24. So what's half of 12? That would have been 6. So the difference here between these numbers should be 6. And then what's half of 6? It would have been 3. So the difference between these two numbers should be 3. So what number would make this true, right? So if we add 3 to 2, it becomes 5. And then if we add 6 to 5, it becomes 11. So the relationship is true. 2, 5, 11, right? So the number that would be missing would be 5, since we could see that the difference is being doubled as we go along. So the answer is 5. Okay, you can take your time to figure out other relationships if you wish, right? But again, in the interest of time, we are moving on. Question 23. Examine the table below. There's a relationship between each number in row 1 and its corresponding number in row 2. So for row 1, 3, then for row 2 is 9, 6, 18, 4, 12, 2, 6. All right. If we should examine the relationship between the two, it would show us that for row 1, the number in row 1 is 1/3 of the number in row 2, okay? Or the number in row 2 is 3 times the number in row 2. So if we have 7, what is 3 times 7? That would be 21. So the missing number would be 21. The answer is D. Right? So they pretty much would represent 1/3. All right, another one which is very light, but hopefully you should be able to see it. Let me make it a bit smaller so everything goes on the screen. All right, it says, which bar graph represents the information in the picture below? So we have smiley faces, we have hearts, and then we have a moon, half a moon figure there. All right, so we would need to count up the number of faces, smiley faces, number of hearts, and the number of moons, and see how it would be represented on the graphs, okay? So how many moons are there? Let's see. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. All right. So which of these would show 5? So it would have been either A or B having 5, but we know it can't be B because the numbers are not the same for the 3 different elements there, so it could not have been. The hearts, we have 1, 2, 3 hearts. So for the hearts, it represents 3. So our correct answer is A. So again, what we did was count up the number, right? The number of moons, the number of smiley faces, there are 2 of them, and then the number of hearts, 3. And we put that on the graph, or it was already placed there. So we look to see which information correctly or accurately reflected that. All right, moving on to question 5. It says, let me make it a little bigger. Okay, guys, remember you can also rotate your device if you're using a phone so you can see the information a lot clearer. All right, so the diagram below shows the model of a whole number. Each block in the model has a value of 1. Use the model and the information given to answer item 25. All right, so we're looking at the model here. And then it says, which number does the model represent? Okay, so this represents 1. This would represent 100. Okay, 10 across, 10 down, 10 rows all stacked. That's 100. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So that would be 500. And then we have 2 stacks of 10. So 500 plus 20. And then we have 5 singles. That would be 525. The correct answer is C. Okay, there were 5 stacks of 100 and then 2 stacks with 10 and then 5 individual blocks, total of 525. All right, so question 26. Jamie's clues about his mystery number are given below. Use them to answer item 26. The first digit is 1 less than the second. The third digit is double the second digit, and the third digit is 8. What is Jamie's 3-digit mystery number? Of course, we know the third digit is 8. All of these would show 8, so we're not really concerned about that clue. All right, so let's look at the first two. The first digit is 1 less than the second. Okay, so the first digit would be smaller than the second digit. Okay, let's look at the options here. And this would not be correct because the first digit is larger than the second. And this also has the first digit being larger than the second. So it would have been one of these two options because they said the first digit is 1 less than the second. So 2 is 1 less than 3, and 3 is also 1 less than 4. But the second clue says the third digit is double the second digit. So the third digit, which is 8, is double the second. So if we double 4, we get 8. If we double 3, we would have gotten 6. So the correct answer is B. All right. Question 27. It says, which dot represents a fraction 1/5 on the number line? Okay, 1/5 on the number line. All right, so the fraction 1/5, a big clue is that 1/5 means less than 1. Okay, so if it had read, and we have to be careful how we read and interpret, if it had read 1/5 of the number line, then we would have divided the number line into 5 parts. But it says which dot represents the fraction 1/5. So we are going to be looking at a slot which would be less than 1. Okay, and so of the options, the one that would represent 1/5 would be somewhere between 0 and 1. Okay, and if we're divided it into 5 parts, if we're splitting this in 5 parts, then this would likely look to be 1 out of the 5 parts. So the correct answer is A. Okay, 1/5. Remember, 1/5 means less than 1. So if you use that as your starting point, you would know that the answer would have to be in that section there. All right, so let's get moving. Question M. M and N are whole numbers, and M times N is divisible by 2. Which statement about M is true? when n is odd. Okay, so they're both whole numbers. M times n is divisible by 2, right? Meaning it's not going to be an odd number. So what statement about m is true when n is odd? Is it that m must be even? So when we multiply the even by the odd, we end up with a number that's divisible by 2? Or is it that m must be odd, right? Is it that m is 1 or m is 0? We can eliminate these from the option, okay? Because 1, if m is 1, we're multiplying the odd number by 1, and so it would end up with the original number, which is odd, which is not divisible by 2. All right, should m be odd? All right, let's use an example of two odd numbers, right? 3 times 5, that would give us an odd number. Let's try another one just to be positive that it holds true. Let's try 7 times 9. That's 63. Also odd. All right, so it says m must be even. So let's try even 2 times 3 odd. That's 6, which is divisible by 2. And so let's try another even number. 4 times 5. That's 20, which is divisible by 2. So m must be even. The correct answer is A. Okay, for it to be divisible by 2, then m must be an even number. Again, you guys have to sometimes use practical ways to figure out what the answer should be. All right, let's get to question 29. It's a little smaller. Okay, two students, Leah and Carl, each had a piece of cord. Each of them used all their cord to form the shape shown below. So Leah's shape was a square, all right? Each side, the length was 4 centimeters. For Carl's shape, he had a rectangle. One side measuring 8 centimeters, the other 2 centimeters. So what is true, which is true about the length of Leah's cord and Carl's cord? So let's first determine what the length of the cord would have been. So it's pretty much would have been using the perimeter, the distance around. So the perimeter for layer shape would have been, if we added all the sides, all right, this would have also been 4 and this been 4. That gives us 16. Carl shape 8. This is also 8. Opposite sides are equal. This is 2. So it would have been 8 plus 8. That's 16 plus 2 plus 2. That's a total of 20. So which statement is true? Leah's cord is longer than Carl's? No. Carl's cord is longer. Yes, they're not the same length. And it says the length cannot be determined by the information given. Yes, we can determine what the lengths are. And we have found that Carl's cord is longer than Leah's cord. All right, getting there. Question 30. Mary wants to determine the number of sweets in a jar. Sam gave her some clues. Here are Sam's clues. The number of sweets in the jar is less than 60, greater than 30, a multiple of 3. So less than 60, so it can't be D. Because D is more than 60. It's greater than 30, so it can't be A. Because A is less than 30. So now we have two numbers and they say a multiple of 3, so we'll have to divide both 57 and 59 by 3, okay, to see which one is exactly divisible by 3, and the correct answer would have been B. Okay, you can go ahead and divide just to be sure, but the correct answer would be B. That's the only number there. Well, not the only number. Of the two options, then it's the only one that is divisible by 3. All right, let's get to 31. Go-Mart sells pencils for $20.25 each. Approximately how much would 1,500 pencils cost? Okay. All right. So approximately how much? They don't exactly told us to go ahead and multiply. All right. They want you to use an approximate. So how would you do that? So again, you guys, if you're not sure and you want to go ahead and multiply, then that's fine, right? But 20 times 1,500, that's 30,000. All right, and then we multiply 25 cents by 1,500 again. So again, that would give us an amount there. So would it be that the pencils, based on what we are saying, it would be 30 plus, right? Would it be less than 15,000? No. More than 15, but less than 30? No, it would be more than 30. More than 30, but less than 45, or more than 45? It definitely would not be more than 45. For it to be 45, then it would have been that the pencils were for $30 each. All right, on at least more than 30, because at 30 it would have been 45,000 exactly. So it would have had to be more than $30 each for the pencil for it to be more than 45. So the answer is C, is more than 30, but less than 45,000. Again, if you have to do your calculations, go ahead and do it so you get your correct answer. All right. The diagram below shows a certain number of marbles in a bag. Half of them are red. The number of blue marbles is the same as the number of green marbles. Which of the following could not be the number of marbles in the bag? So there are different ways again to do this. You could simply divide, see what number is, if the number is divisible by 4, all right? Or we could find half of each number and then see if that half is divisible by 2, all right? So if you do all of that, half of 96 would be 48. So that is an even number divisible by 2. Half of 78 is 39. 39 is not divisible by 2. Half of 52 is 26. Of course, that is divisible by 2. Half of 28 is 14. That's also divisible by 2. So the answer, the number that could not be the number of marbles in the bag, would be B. Okay, but if you divide 78 by half, it would be 39 red. But of course, since both blue and green had to have the same number, 39 would not have been correct. All right, let's get to 33. A bookstore sells pencils for a bookstore sells pencils for $30 each, notebooks for $80 each, and pencils for $50 each. Which combination of items can be purchased with $300? Okay, so that means we'd have to go and do some calculations and see. All right, so for 5 pencils, that would have been 150 plus 80 plus 2 pens, $50 each, that's 100. All right, would we buy this with $300? No, because this is more than $300. Again, you'd have to take your time and do your calculations. All right, so 1 pencil, 30, 2 notebooks at 80 each would have been 160, and then 4 pens at $50 each would have been 200. All right, this is still more than 300, so it's not possible. 2 pencils, that's 60. 2 notebooks, 160, right? 80 times 2, and 3 pens, 150. All right, so again, this is more than 300. Let's try. 3 pencils, that's 90. 1 notebook, 80. And 2 pens, 100. Okay, 190 plus 80. That is less than 300. So we could purchase what was there for option D. Again, guys, you take your time, do your calculations to get your correct answer. All right, here we are now at question 34. Students were asked to select 1 fruit for breakfast and 1 fruit for lunch. The table below shows the number of students who selected each fruit. Use this information to answer items 34 to 37. Okay, so we pretty much have 2 tables in one. Okay, the information there, right, shows the fruit selected for breakfast and then the fruit selected for lunch. How many selected that? So it says which fruit was selected by most students for lunch. All right. So we're looking at the fruits. Here are the fruits selected for lunch. Okay. And these would be the totals for the lunch. So which fruit was selected most by students for lunch? And when we look at the totals, it would have been the banana. That's B. All right, let's get to question 35. How many students are in the survey? Okay, how many students are in the survey? All right, so the same set of students, they have selected a fruit for breakfast and a fruit for lunch. So we could have totaled this and that would have given us a total number of students, or this. Okay, so let's do this one. So 200 plus 150, that's 350, plus 60 and 90, that's another 150. So the total would have been 500 students. Remember, it's the same number of students who selected lunch would also be selecting for breakfast. So we don't need to add the numbers, the two sets of totals, right? It's the same students that are selecting fruit from each for both lunch and breakfast. So the number of students in the survey would have been 500. All right. So how many students selected banana for both breakfast and lunch? So we're going to go look to see how many selected banana for both breakfast and lunch. So we look to see, this is the row for banana for lunch, and this is the row for banana for breakfast. So here's where the two columns meet, okay? These selected banana, and they also selected banana, so it would have been 60. And so the answer is B. All right, let's get to the next question. How many students who selected a plum for breakfast also selected a mango for lunch? So they selected plum for breakfast, mango for lunch. Let's go look back to see plum for breakfast. So this is plum for breakfast, and it must coincide with the mango for lunch. And so it would have been plum here that coincides with the mango. And this is where they join 10. Okay, so 10 students, they had mango for lunch and also plum for breakfast. All right, guys, the table's might be a little bit challenging for those, but just take your time. And I mean, if it is that you got something like this, and try to understand the information. So it would have been A, 10 students. All right, almost at the end of the paper, 3 more to go. Guys, remember to like this video, share with a friend, subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so, so that, everybody gets a chance to benefit from what we're doing. All right, 38. What two shapes can be joined without overlapping to form this kite? What two shapes can be without overlapping? Of course, it's very obvious, or it should be very obvious, I should say. The answer is A. Okay, these two shapes, you don't overlap them, right? They join right here. Then it would be this one. Overlapping meaning not going to join them in, parts going into the other parts, right? And that's A. All right, so we're now at 39. Which two shapes, let me make this a little bigger. Which two shapes in the rectangle below can be combined to form a 5-point star? Is it the rectangle? So we have a rectangle, we have a triangle, a square, and a pentagon, right? So which of these two could be combined to form a 5-point star? All right, is it 1 and 2? Is it 1 and 3? Definitely not. Is it 2 and 3 or 2 and 4? And the correct answer is D. Okay. for the base of the triangle at each point, and then it would have been. All right, so let us look at there you have it. See, trying to draw it as best as possible. That would have been the pentagon inside and the base of the triangle at each point, okay, on each side. And so it would have been the pentagon and the triangle. All right, let's get to the final question. For question 40, a question is followed by two statements. Determine if the statements provide enough information to answer the question. All right, so it says Dennis takes the bus to school. About what time will he get there? Statement 1 says the bus travels at 80 kilometers per hour. Statement 2 says the bus left the bus park at 9 a.m. All right, so is statement 1 alone enough to answer the question? Is statement 2 alone to answer the question? Are both statements together enough to answer the question, or both statements together not enough? All right, so what time will he get there? Do we have enough information to tell us what time he will get to school? It didn't tell us, well, it told us what time the bus left the park, but it doesn't tell us what's the distance, right? We don't even know if that's where Dennis got the bus, at the bus park, or if the bus picked him up somewhere along, at home. We don't even have that information either. We don't know how long the distance is to be able to determine what time he would have gotten up to school based on how the bus traveled. So both statements together are not enough. We would need more information. All right, so there you have it, guys. Another paper successfully completed. Make sure to follow, like, subscribe, and share with a friend, okay? And as usual, I will see you in the next video.